effort of our entire department. There are too many people to name, but I want to thank the many DPR staff members and teams who participated in our executive team for their leadership and support. But I do want to thank the team from the Park Planning and Development Division for their work, especially Sonia Ewing, Claire Wurstel, Laura Connolly, and Tanya Hedgepath. So thanks again for being here. I'm going to turn tonight's presentation over to Claire Wurstel, our lead park strategic planner, to lead us through our content. Thanks again, Claire.
Thanks, Bridget. Good evening. My name is Claire Wurstel. I'm the project manager for the Multi-Generational Center Feasibility Studies 2, 3, and 4. This project began in 2020, and many of you provided input on what you would like to see in the multi-generational centers. We're here tonight to provide you with the results of the study and the conceptual designs. Before we begin, there are a couple of housekeeping items. The meeting is being recorded, and the recording will be available on the website in a couple of days after the meeting. Please use the chat feature for your questions and comments. We will be going through it. Oh, sorry, I just lost that a minute. We will be going through it at the end of the meeting. If needed, you can turn the live captions on and subtitles, which can be found on your video controls. Today, I'll be updating you on the work that was done to finalize these studies, including the final program, location, and conceptual designs for each of the 3 centers. Following the assessment, the department delivered the Formula 2040 Functional Master Plan for Parks and Recreation. Formula 2040 divided the county into 9 service areas based on a 15-minute drive time, and recommended the construction of 1 multi-generational center per service area. Multi-generational centers typically range from 60,000 to 80,000 square feet and offer an array of program opportunities to meet the needs of an entire family, but are custom designed to serve the neighboring population. They include a double gymnasium, an aquatic feature, a fitness center. Sorry, guys, my computer keeps going in and out. I apologize. The Formula 2040 also instructed the department to conduct feasibility studies and business plans for each new facility to determine the need based on level of service, cost recovery levels, and funding capabilities. This is a map showing the 9 service areas, which represent a 15-minute drive time to each multi-generational center. The department reviewed the progress made toward implementing the plan recommendations, which included the construction of SARC in Service Area 9 and the construction of South Tech Rec in Service Area 8. Sports and Learning Complex is the multi-generational center for Service Area 5, and the feasibility study for Marlow Heights in Service Area 7 was recently completed. It was determined that Marlow Heights could not accommodate a multi-generational center, so that site is getting an addition instead. That leaves 5 more feasibility studies and the question of which one to do next. Sorry, everybody. Are you seeing my screen moving? I'm having a little bit of technical difficulty and my slides are not moving.
No, they are. We're seeing your background Formula 2040 slide.
I'm moving it forward, but it is not moving for me. I'm just gonna, I apologize. I'm just gonna stop presenting for a moment and I'm gonna come back in and let's see if that fixes it. Fun of virtual live meetings. All right, let's try this one more time and let's hope it stops freezing up. There we go. All right, there we are. Good, glad it's working. Okay, as a refresher, following the guidance from Formula 2040 Functional Master Plan, as well as our analysis of special needs or service area needs throughout the county, we are going to be focusing on facility delivery in the north central part of the county by conducting feasibility studies for new multi-generational centers in service areas 2, 3, and 4 as shown on the map. When we embarked on this project, we set out to answer a series of questions from setting objectives and priorities to identifying the unique programs, site locations, and conceptual designs to creating an executable implementation plan and operation model for each site. In order to answer those questions, we've completed a rigorous research, analysis, and public input process in order to design the appropriate program for each service area. As part of this process, we worked with our leadership team to develop a set of criteria for all multi-generational centers. For example, the multi-generational centers should provide a home for youth and countywide sports division. Competitive offerings should be balanced with core programming. Certain programs should be accessible to all residents, regardless of their ability to pay. And centers should serve as a hub and a network of offerings and be easy and inexpensive to maintain. We also developed criteria to guide us in selecting a site. including access to transit, site accessibility and connectivity, ability to include outdoor park facilities, cost, etc. Again, this will be available on the website if you wish to read through it at your leisure. To complement the community input, and I apologize that this is a bit of an IMAP, a busy chart, but the numbers in the red box are the aquatic square footage needs for service areas 2, 3, and 4. And we did this aquatic study to complement the work that we were doing on the feasibility study. As you can see, service area 3 has a much higher need than service area 2 and 4, which are about equal. You will see this reflected in the program. We also had conversations with regional and national swimming organizations, which all expressed interest in having additional space for high-level swim competition in Prince George's County. We also engaged the communities within each service area to better understand the recreational needs of these unique communities. We conducted over 40 stakeholder interviews, conducted focus groups with leaders from 16 community organizations, and 269 community members participated in 6 meetings. Service Area 2 is located inside the Beltway. It is home to 12 municipalities and is very dense urban suburban development that is undergoing a lot of redevelopment. It is well connected via trails, metro, roads, and bus lines. 17% of the county's population lives within this service area, and it's growing at a faster rate than the rest of the county. The households in this service area are larger and younger than the other parts of the county, and the residents have a lower median income than the county average. So this is the area around Prince George's Plaza. That's the service area we're talking about right now. From our community center engagement, we learned more about the recreational needs of each individual community. In Service Area 2, there were requests for indoor walking options, after-school spaces for nearby students, turf fields, low-impact exercise for seniors, transit, bicycle, and pedestrian access, and collaboration with other institutions like the library. Conversely, Service Area 3 is located outside of the Beltway and in a lower density, more suburban, and it's more suburban in nature. There is some transit service via the MARC train, but most residents rely on cars, and there's great regional road access in this area. So this is the area, a little outside the Beltway, includes Bowie, Seabrook. This is a large service area with a large population. This service area is older than the county average and has a much higher median household income. In Service Area 3, the community requested larger multi-purpose spaces, rentable event space, indoor and outdoor gathering spaces, splash park enhancements, protection of the historic Bell Station Road, and additional parking, just to name a few. Finally, we have Service Area 4, which is also inside the Beltway. It is a mix of urban and suburban. There are not many indoor recreational facilities in this service area, and it is well served by both regional roadways and transit. The growth rate of this service area is very low. Service Area 4 is younger than the county average and has a high number of children under the age of 10. The median household income is lower than the county or the neighboring service areas that we've been discussing tonight. In Service Area 4, the community requested access via a variety of transportation options, extended hours of operation, variety of membership levels, incubator spaces for small business, programs that improve health outcomes, learn to swim programs, and senior exercise activities. This is a quick summary of where we landed for all 3 centers. Each has a theme, which makes them unique in our system. Service Area 2, the theme is fitness and social connectivity. In Service Area 3, it's aquatics and youth competition. And in Service Area 4, the theme is health and wellness. They range in size from 87,000 square feet at Prince George's Plaza to 95,000 square feet at Glenridge to 137,000 square feet at Glendale. And the consultant also provided cost estimates for each center. If we dive a little deeper, you can see the differences in indoor and outdoor amenities and parking for each site. Each has a unique program element. At Prince George's, there will be an urban rooftop multi-purpose field and a bi-directional competition pool. At Glendale, we will expand the splash park and add a 50-meter competitive pool. And at Glenridge, we will redesign the employee daycare and add dedicated wellness spaces. We'll now look at the designs for each center. So we explored 8 sites in Service Area 2 for a potential multi-generational center. We looked at some of our existing park sites and properties we already own, as well as some privately owned sites, both developed and vacant. We ultimately decided to focus on the sites around the Prince George's Plaza metro station because of its centrality and access to transit. The Dewey development was too far along to make the required changes needed to accommodate the multi-generational center. And the Home Depot site, which may have been ideal due to its proximity to Hyrick, did not have a willing seller at this time. We have had various discussions with the mall site, and we will be continuing our analysis on these and a small number of other site options, but our number one option right now is the Prince George's Plaza Community Center site. We did do a full conceptual design for the site, currently occupied by the Prince George's Plaza Community Center and the adjacent Beth Tower building. The bottom photo shows the view from the newly constructed Hyattsville Library, which is a nice complementary use. The center is a multi-story building on the south side. Due to the slope of the site, the field on the north side will be at grade, and underneath that field will be a multi-story parking garage. Here you can see the plan view. The main entrance to the building would be at the corner of Adelphi and Bellcrest. The back of the building will look out onto the planned Nine Ponds water feature and connect to it via trail. In this view, you can see how the 3-level parking structure will be situated under the field, and the building and elevator and stair access. You'll access the building via elevator and stair access from the ground level. This is a detailed floor plan, which you can explore more at your leisure. Again, this is all on the website as these are available. But the ground floor, where one would enter from Adelphi and Bellcrest, we will have the main entrance, the pool, courts, and the dedicated program spaces. And then on the second floor, the patrons will access the walking track, the fitness area, the multi-purpose rooms, and the outdoor field. Next, we'll look at the designs for Service Area 3. So in this service area, we looked at 3 locations. We looked at the Glendale Community Center, the Glendale Hospital, and Fairwood Park. The land surrounding Glendale Hospital is the future site of a park. However, the number of roadway improvements and infrastructure improvements needed for this site made it less feasible than using our existing location. Additionally, having a new multi-generational center so close to the Glendale Community Center was not ideal from a market perspective, and Fairwood would have required the loss of open space in addition to those other issues that were also issues for the Glendale Hospital. Ultimately, we decided it was best to build the new multi-generational center at the existing Glendale Community Center site. It has great road access, available space for a larger facility, and connectivity to the WB&A trail, which will connect to the new Glendale Hospital development. We know that this building is currently programmed beyond capacity and that this is a great opportunity to modernize it and better serve the community. This is the plan view for the multi-generational center at Glendale. The new center will be sited to take advantage of the slope of the site. The center has a large outdoor program and expanded parking and connects to the WB&A trail. And it will include an outdoor fitness space, playground, expanded splash park, a level 3 turf field, and a community green at the front of the facility. This site is envisioned to have a thick border of tree cover to screen the activity on the site from historic Bell Station Road. Phase 1 of this project will be the expansion and upgrade of the splash park. Phase 2.1 would then be the construction of the building, which would be a demolition of the existing building and all new construction. And phase 2.2 would be the outdoor fields. And in this, you can kind of see how it would go. So you can see phase 1 is the splash park, phase 2 would be the building site, and then phase 2.2 is the fields in the back. So this will be a multi-story building. Patrons will be able to look down onto the pool deck and the basketball courts from the upper levels. Patrons will enter the building on the upper level and then will access the pool seating, the walking track, the child care, and the indoor play area, the dedicated multi-purpose rooms, and the group exercise all at the upper level. And then the lower level will house both pools, competition and warm water, and the courts and the fitness area. The community green is a unique feature. It will be partly drivable through the use of permeable pavers, but also be able to be closed off for outdoor events such as farmers markets, festivals, and movie nights. And finally, I'm going to show you the concepts for Service Area 4. So we looked at a number of commercial sites in the service area as well as Glen Ridge Elementary School, which scored the highest on our site selection criteria. Both Landover Mall and Landover Crossing were too close to the Sports and Learning Complex, and the Riverdale Plaza was too close to Service Area 2. The last center will be located at the current Glen Ridge Elementary School site. This site is part of a larger redevelopment, which will include the new Glen Ridge Middle School, the new Glen Ridge Park improvements, and the new Purple Line station, and any future redevelopment that happens around that station. It was important to create good bicycle and pedestrian access from the station to the site, and traffic to and from the site should stay along Gallatin and not impact the local roadways. The entrance to the building can be seen directly from the walking path from the Purple Line station. This will be a 2-story building with a turf field in the back and trail and path connections to the amenities at the Glen Ridge Park and the middle school. This is the plan view showing various entrances. The entrance and drop-off area to the west is for the daycare, which will still be housed at this location. This daycare is for MNC PPC and PGCPS employees. Trails will connect the center to the field below and to the park next door. The main pool and small warm water pool, as well as courts and multi-purpose rooms, will be located on the ground level. The upper floor will house the walking track and fitness areas. The pool and courts will be able to be viewed from above, and the child care facility will be located on a lower level that takes advantage of the slope of the site, and it'll be accessed separately from the Multigenerational Center, which will provide additional security. So in summary, we have 3 sites with 3 unique centers, all designed to serve the population that surround them. We have proposed that the center in Service Area 2 be constructed first. Glen Ridge is also a high need area, but that center's construction timeline is dependent on the handover from the existing school from PGCPS and finding a swing space for the daycare center. Both Glendale and Glen Ridge may be constructed in phases, with the outdoor amenities being constructed first as we wait for adequate CIP funding to be available for the facility construction. So what comes next, and when can you expect to see a multi-generational center in your community? So based on the implementation schedule, we will be layering implementation of various phases of the 3 centers. The Multi-Generational Center in Service Area 2 will be the first to be funded and constructed, and a funding request for the center was included in the draft fiscal year 23 CIP. As previously stated, site discussions are still ongoing for that center. Once a final location is decided upon, we will reach out to the community for additional input as we begin the design for that center. In Service Area 3, we will be making a budget request for the expansion of the Splash Park as the first phase of this project in FY24, and then we'll be back with a separate funding request for the construction of the center. And then again for Service Area 4, the department has received $880,000 from the Board of Education toward the design, procurement, and construction of the outdoor components of the center, which will include the fields, courts, and playground at the rear of the site. While design may begin earlier, the actual construction of this center cannot begin until the property has officially been turned over to the department. The existing students have been transferred to a new school, and a swing space can be found for the daycare while the new facility is constructed. To finish up, I'm going to show you some visuals of what you can expect to be included in these multi-generational centers. Remember, no 2 centers are alike, and these are just concepts. They will each be designed and customized based on the needs of the surrounding communities. Popular group exercise classes such as yoga and Zumba will be offered. Hard courts for basketball, futsal, or volleyball will be surrounded by an elevated indoor track. Multi-purpose rooms will be available for a variety of uses and could include space for parties, classes, community meetings, or religious services. Dedicated program rooms for childcare, culinary instruction, esports, senior and teen activities, or computer labs are all possibilities for dedicated program space. For aquatics, there are various types of aquatic options, and they all vary by center, but the designs presented tonight, we had competition pool, leisure pools, and therapy pools. And within competition pools, there are various considerations related to lap lanes, diving wells, and spectator seating, but these are examples of what you can expect at Glendale and a smaller version at Prince George's Plaza. There are also the outdoor components to the Multi-Generational Center, which are particularly important as we focus on youth sport opportunities. There are also more passive outdoor recreation options like trails, community gardens, and picnic areas, and like at Glendale, that community green. So with that, thank you for your time this evening, and I'll take questions. Please put your questions in the chat. We have staff that will be going through the chat, and we'll be answering those as we get through them. Thank you. I believe, yes, please feel free to add any questions you have in the chat at this time. there any estimate on how long it'll take to get the turnover from schools to the Glenridge site? Sonia, do you want to answer that question? Are you available to answer that question?
Sure. I apologize for any background noise. We recently signed a memorandum of understanding with Prince George's County Schools. They will have 8 years from January 2022 to do the pupil that is necessary in that school and provide the site development ready. They may move more quickly than that, but that is the agreement date for final transfer with PGCPS.
Thank you, Sonia. I'm sorry, was everybody able to hear Sonia? So the question is the estimated start time for Glendale is 2024. So the estimated start time to fund just the splash park is FY24. So FY24, we will put in the funding that is necessary for the splash park. We do not have a date yet for the actual multi-generational center. They hopefully will happen in sequence, but it's all dependent on how long the construction of the service area 2, which will probably happen first, however, how long that takes. You're very welcome. How long do you anticipate for construction of the center in service area 2? Bridget, I'm going to toss that question to you.
You know, we're actively talking about that. We're in an interesting construction market right now, but we're hoping about 3 years is what we're aiming for. So, but we're in an aggressive construction market right now with a lot of variables.
And Bridget, can you clarify if that 3 years includes design as well?
I mean, that's what we're hoping. I mean, I think 3 to 5 years is the window we're really hoping to open the doors.
Anthony Nolan says, yes, PGCPS has 8 years to relocate students from Glenridge. Thanks, Anthony. Let me give everybody another minute. Oh, here we go. Marietta House is very near Glendale Splash Park. You mentioned there would be festivals, events, and markets at the site. The two park sites will seem to be competing against each other for community attendance in those aspects. So the Marietta House, lovely property. We anticipate that at Glendale, a lot of those outdoor events would be related to the center itself. So the things that the center would be programming, Marietta and the NHRD staff and the Arts and Cultural Heritage staff do a lot of the programming for our historic locations. But then the community center staff would be doing the programming for Glendale. So it is two separate entities and different events that would be happening. Councilman Turner, the Glendale Citizens Association made a request that the facility be considered at the Glendale Hospital site. Can you explain further why it was not considered? So I will start off the explanation, and then I will also allow either Sonia, yeah, probably Sonia, if you can hear her, or Bridget to speak a little bit more about that one. So the Glendale Hospital site, or I should say the Glendale Community Center site, has fantastic road access. We already owned land that was pretty much completely cleared. And when you look at the market, because of the fact that the Glendale Hospital is so close to the Glendale Community Center, while we don't expect our multi-generational centers to take business away from our community centers, we were envisioning it like a hub and spoke model where the multi-generational center would be the hub and then the community centers would be the spokes, and they would be, you know, like feeding programs and content to each other. So maybe you do your practices for basketball at Glendale, but then you do your games up at the multi-generational center. There is still a little bit of market overlap between them. And so there was some concern by the consultant and by the staff of having two centers so close to each other. That's one piece of it. A second piece of it is that at Glendale, there's Glendale, the hospital site, and then there's the park that surrounds it. And the park that surrounds it is really the size of our regional park. And we are going to be looking at doing a future master plan for that space. But because of the fact that we hadn't done that master planning yet, it would require a lot of infrastructure costs, road improvements, and tree clearing in order to put the multi-generational center on that site. There were just so many positives for putting it at Glendale that we decided to go with that site. And Sonia, do you want to add anything to that?
No, you did a great job with that answer. Thanks, Claire.
Can you explain how the multi-purpose rooms in Service Area 2 would accommodate musical ensembles such as College Park Youth Orchestra or other ensembles of the College Park Youth Exchange? So we've had this question, and there was individual who actually reached out and helped us with some specs and understanding when we were in the design process or the feasibility process, understanding what the needs of the music community would be if they wanted to have use our facility. And I think at that time, and I will say that these are conceptual designs. And so when we get into the design process of the building with the actual architects who's going to be designing it, those spaces are flexible. So where you see today a dedicated program space, we have yet to determine what that dedicated space will be. So if there is a lot of interest from the music community, we invite them to come and get involved in that process and talk to us. You can email me and let us know what the needs are. And if we can understand those needs better and understand what the facility, what kinds of things you would need in that facility, we can continue that conversation. I'm assuming that's part of that question, but I think that, things like music lessons, theater classes, I think those can be accommodated in many of our centers in different types of spaces. It is the real technical, if you need sound attenuation, if you need certain ceiling heights, the things that really require a dedicated space that I think we need to understand more about. Any consideration of having traffic use State Road 410 rather than Gallatin, as there will be light from the back of the Glen Ridge Shopping Center, while light at Gallatin on 450 is very near. Okay, so that is something we discussed a bit. We did look at could you enter from the WMATA property behind the building and come around. I think that's still open to consideration and discussion. Again, these are conceptual designs. I think at the time we didn't have necessarily enough information to understand if the possibility of entering from that side. If you're on 410, there isn't a light right now until you get to 450. But if there's going to be a light at the black, that maybe that's something that can be a consideration. We'll have to look further into that and find out exactly where that's going to be. And Sonia also said the multipurpose rooms have the opportunity to be designed to include a stage or other performance amenities in later phases. So again, this is so early that we are getting to a point of when we get into design of those dedicated spaces are going to have to become something. Are they ceramic studios? Are they musical spaces? Are they theater spaces? Are they computer labs? And that has yet to be determined. So again, I would say, if you have a dedicated group and a dedicated type of program and there is interest, let us know, reach out, and we can talk more about that. Going to give it another minute for any other questions to come in. I know sometimes it takes a little time to type your questions. All right, I don't think we have any other questions. Oh, here we go. What will be the pedestrian pathway to Glen Ridge as the Purple Line station is on the opposite side? Good question. So we've been working with our trails planner on our team, and we will be working with DPW&T and the planning department to understand how we can create safe crossing from where the Purple Line station is going to be across. So it would be a safe crossing across 450, and then a very obvious and lit path along the way down Gallatin. So making sure that the sidewalks are wide enough, making sure that, you know, as improvements are happening with the Purple Line plan, that everything is happening as it was supposed to happen, which does include sidewalk improvements and bikeway improvements. And that's why as you're coming down Gallatin, we put it so the front door, you can see it from once you hit Gallatin 450, you should be able to see the front door of the Multigenerational Center, both for ease of access, feeling of safety, and just so that, you know, people who don't know it's there will be able to see it and know it's there as they get off that station.
Claire, just to piggyback on that, I think we will have the opportunity to really take advantage of the road improvements and street improvements that are going to be made as a part of the middle school development by Prince George's County Schools, with the development of the Glen Ridge Middle School that is underway. We've already begun our partnership with them by identifying new sidewalk connections, safer routes that are going to help the park users, the school users, and eventually the multi-gen center users from both the Purple Line and just throughout the neighborhoods to our trail system.
Thanks, Sonia. Are the spaces provided by the new Hyattsville Library being considered in the multi-purpose spaces available in the Service Area 2 design? So I actually had the pleasure of visiting that library this past week. It is lovely. The spaces are beautiful. They have study spaces in there. They have some community spaces in there. So yes, so as we, again, you know, we are at that conceptual design space phase. And so right now, I think we have 4 1,000 square foot multi-purpose spaces spec'd. As we get into it, we might say that, you know, the multi-purpose space over at the library is sufficient. We could maybe make one of these an extra dedicated program space. Or, you know, we find out that maybe we could expand the pool a little bit, or this is a ballet studio instead. And so again, there's a lot of flexibility in that. But yes, having the library next to a multi-generational center has a lot of opportunity for complementary uses as well. You know, there can be joint programming. They have a beautiful outdoor area. We hopefully will have a beautiful outdoor area. There's definitely some synergies and some opportunity for joint programming, things like that. You're very welcome. All right, gonna give it, let's see. Yes, we are very excited to collaborate with our new neighbor. It's a beautiful building inside and outside, and I think it was a great addition for the community over there. All right, well, with that, thank you, everybody. We are going to put the recording up on the website. Please feel free to share it. Share the recording, go in, the full report is on the website. You can take a look at all the designs. You can look at them in more detail. And as always, please reach out if you have any questions. I'm going to put my email address in the chat. Thank you for putting that in the chat, Sonia. And everybody have a wonderful evening.